Good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Castro, and I help Christian business leaders stuck in a repetitive loop of frustration and disappointment shift out of their labyrinth of unmet expectations into the place where their dreams and hopes become a reality. I've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks about different lessons I'm learning, both personal and professional. And today's lesson is a leadership lesson. From the transition from Genesis to Exodus is the beginning of this story of how God brought the people out of Egypt into the promised land. But there was this key verse that I found interesting this morning, and I find so many of them interesting because the word is living and breathing and constantly is a place where you can learn new things. But if you look at Exodus 1, starting with verse 8, and this is the lesson I'm going to talk about today. It says, "Now there arose a new king over Egypt. He knew nothing about Joseph. And he said to his people, 'Look, the descendants of Israel have become a people too numerous and powerful for us.'" And, then it goes on and it talks about what he's afraid of. In the event of war, they might ally themselves with our enemies, fight against us, leave the land altogether. And so what did he do? He decided to oppress them, to make them his slaves. And as I was reading that, it struck me that this is a tale of two pharaohs. The first pharaoh, when Joseph was alive, had so much security in his ability to rule and his ability just to kind of make things okay, that he was absolutely at peace with bringing this Israelite into a top position within his royal government and letting him rule the land. He had trust in Joseph, he had confidence in Joseph. And when Joseph brought in the entire Israelite family and they grew numerous, there was years and years and years under that Pharaoh's rule where he was fine. He just let the people be. And Pharaoh and Egypt was blessed because Israel was blessed. And there became this synergistic relationship between the blessing of Israel and where Israel was living in the land of Egypt. And for whatever reason, that Pharaoh never bothered to share that information or talk about Joseph in a positive way down the generations. And so I don't know how many generations there were between that Pharaoh and the new Pharaoh, which is the one that's mentioned in Exodus 1. But that Pharaoh said he didn't know anything about Joseph. So the information was lost. And he just decided to rule with oppression and fear. And so the leadership lesson that I'm getting out of this is, what kind of environment are you creating and where are you getting your security? If your security is truly in the Lord, as a leader, you just rule within your leadership responsibilities and sphere of influence from that place of security, which means that you do and say whatever God says, and you do the right thing, and you are just a good leader, and you take care of the people under you. You don't oppress them and beat them up, so to speak, because you're afraid of what might happen. You trust that God's going to take care of you. So today, as you're going through your day, take a couple of minutes and stop and think about your leadership sphere of influence, professionally and personally. Just take a minute and ask yourself, what kind of environment am I creating for those around me? Am I creating an environment of peace where they can become the people that they're supposed to become? They are free to be who God created them to be. They are free to use their gifts and shine in certain areas, because that's what God wants. that they are free to do that? Or are you creating an environment where you have to be number one, you have to be in control, and no one else can shine but you? And this is not a condemning statement. This is not a judgmental statement. This is an awareness question. What kind of environment are you creating? Especially if you have a team of people working under you or the family around you. If you are creating an environment where you get your security from the Lord, you are going to lead and rule well, basically like Solomon for the most part. I mean, or David. You know, they both reigned from a place of security in the Lord, and their people loved them, respected them. Now, they didn't always get along, but that underlying place of love and respect made the environment safe to live in, to work in, to grow in, to be in. And that's the kind of environment I believe the Lord wants us to create wherever we are. So what kind of environment are you creating? Go back and read chapter 1 and following in Exodus and just be thinking about that. Thanks for your time today. There is a free gift in this post. I would love for you to download it. And if I can help you in any way, personally or professionally, schedule a coffee and conversation with me. It costs nothing. And honestly, I get my security from the Lord. And so if you decide that I'm not a good fit to work with you, that's okay too. Let's have the conversation and see what happens. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy and take care. Bye-bye.